Koha Kai was created in 2013 following a New Zealand Disability Support Conference where Janice heard people say, "This is what we want," and she heard others say, "No, so this is what we hear." Janice had long been concerned that many of the challenges faced by people with disabilities was based around the fact that there was no affordable access to good food, good kai, the result of most of them living at or below the poverty line. So she started a group based around accessing better quality food. For some in the group, the only way they could access the food was to trade their time, a koha, for a share of the food, kai. So they sat down together, talked about what needed to happen, what they wanted to achieve, and they drew a map of how they would get there, from planning to implementation, to aspirations of learning new skills, to creating business opportunities, and the outcome they wanted was equity in the community, in our hapori. That was in 2013, and we've never strayed from that pathway. This was not about someone asking what they wanted and then telling them how they should be achieving it. It was about talking together, working together, hashing out ideas, and then acting on those decisions as a collective. One of our priorities was to encourage inclusivity in our hapori, in our community. We knew where the challenges were, so our plan was to look for opportunities to create value through the mahi we were involved in, helping ourselves whilst also contributing valued services to our community. But we had no money, providing services on the smell of an oily rag. In 2015, we began growing our own kai, creating gardens in the schools where we worked, providing kai for our kitchens, and contributing to the well-being of the schools we supported. Our very clear goal became to change the narrative for people with disabilities, focus on doing those things we were good at for the benefit of our community, working to our strengths and gently proving by doing that people with disabilities can make a significant impact if they are just given the opportunity to actively participate. That feeling of connection gave so many of our students a real sense of value and purpose in their lives, and this became our mission, to encourage a life of purpose. It was hugely encouraging for our learners to be recognised publicly for their contribution to our community, our hapori. In 2017, after so much encouragement from awards and acknowledgements, we decided to change our focus. We were working towards people's strengths. We saw their abilities and their achievements and sought to look towards mainstream employment. So we began to formalise our learning. We wrote our first structured teaching programs, not based on mainstream learning. Rather, we focused on our observations of how people in our program learned and absorbed information. This was enabled because we received our very first funding. From that point forward, we began purposefully building the skills and capacity of our tauira and underpinning everything we did with mainstream employment expectations. Through our partnerships with various kura, as well as Te Pūtahitanga o Te Waipounamu, who provided not just tremendously valued financial assistance, but also supported our growth and cultural capacity, tikanga and te ao Māori, we began to realise that the mahi we do aligned perfectly and naturally with all 7 pou of whānau ora. It was a cultural awakening for Koha Kai and a growing awareness of our name and the mana and responsibility we had accepted as part of our purpose, vision, mission and culture. It was so important to us that we be seen not just to be inclusive, responsive and community focused, but that we build key partnerships and relationships with other like-minded community groups. And so with further funding support from our community funders, we joined with South Alive and built our very first commercial kitchen. It became our progression level in our teaching program for our hospitality learners. As our hospitality tauira progressed, so also our horticulture team needed the same opportunities. Korimako Dominican Ecology Centre, under the care and guidance of Sister Judith Robinson, who had generously supported our learners up to that point, invited Koha Kai to create a market garden using one of the paddocks at the centre. It took our learning from small home kura gardens up to the scale they would expect in any commercial enterprise, and it also generated large amounts of beautiful spray-free and pesticide-free produce to share with our community and to include in our community meals. Sadly, 2020 brought with it the COVID interruption and all the disruption and stress of a civil emergency in massive proportions. Suddenly, our focus had to change from learning to growth to prioritising safety, security, and the well-being of our tauira, our students. We knew that this would become another moment in the transformation of Koha Kai, and we used this time to work out a new plan and a new strategy for our program and our people. For every negative, we seek to find the positive. While our teaching program went into stasis and we were unable to keep growing the numbers of students, We were able to offer regular employment to our graduates through the growing number of social enterprises we created. Community remained at the centre of our focus with our corporate basket, tucker box lunch deliveries, celebration promotions, community lunches at our temporary home at Elmwood Gardens, which came to us through a partnership with Invercargill Licensing Trust, and the Free and Healthy Lunches in Schools initiative, Ka Ora Ka Auku. We also used this time to refine and evolve our teaching program, and rather than try to roll it out wider into our hapori and to our community, we built on our strong relationships with other disability service providers and joined with IHC and IDEA Services to create a joint venture at Arongaho, meaning New Directions or New Start. Our schools were gone, and our time at Korimako was sadly over. Through this new evolving relationship, we have the opportunity to welcome whānau from all around New Zealand as we train the trainer and create the resources to support the growth of independence for tangata whaikaha across the motu. E kore e tae te whenu kotahi ki te rāranga i te whāriki kia a tātou. Mā te mahitahi o ngā whenu, mā te mahitahi o ngā kairāranga, ka oti tēnei whāriki. The tapestry of understanding cannot be woven by one strand alone. Only by the working together of strands and the working together of weavers will such a tapestry be completed. Koha Kai has evolved yet again and has proven itself to be entirely focused on our outcomes for whānau. Through lockdown, we have been essential workers providing care and tiaki for more than 870 whānau isolating with COVID. We've supported our firefighters, working alongside emergency services to keep people fed, and we continue to work with the government to build resilience in our hapori and our community as we all learn to live a new normal. 2 weeks ago, we announced the launch of our new integrated training program. Through this whole process, we have listened to and learned from those who sit at the heart of our kaupapa. They told us what they wanted to learn, not only hospitality or horticulture, but they wanted to learn about both, so they could become truly independent and at the same time have options for future employment opportunities. Our program is unique and was specifically established for learners of whom mainstream learning does not work. The whole process of evolution for Koha Kai has been guided by and developed for tangata whaikaha. Thanks to the support of Tuitu Te Waiora, who are guiding us through the process of micro-credentials. From 2023 onwards, we anticipate our graduates to not only achieve trades equivalent qualifications from Koha Kai, but New Zealand certification for their learning through our program. As we have evolved and our students have grown and evolved with us, we've still remained focused on our connections with our community. It is embedded in our learning in a specific goal of creating equity for people living with the challenges of disability. We are excited to see what 2023 will bring. For many who have come through our program and now live independently in our hapori, by their own admission, Koha Kai is their papa kāinga. In their words, the start of their mana motuhake, the beginning of their separate identity, autonomy, self-determination, independence and sovereignty. And for that, we are very grateful and very proud. 9 years ago, a small group of people began cooking in a shed with the goal of improving their nutrition and knowledge about food. Their goal was to find a way to create equity, diversity, and integration for people living with the challenges of disability. They wanted to change the way our community views disability and to see people not for what their limitations might be, but for all the things they can achieve. This centre and the enterprises which sit within and around it are the future sustainability plan for Koha Kai and the place where tangata whaikaha can reach their dreams. Nau mai, haere mai, welcome to the Huia Centre and welcome to Koha Kai HQ.